Thank you, Lynette. So we are Connections, and our team is me, Kathy Bell Barlow, and Bijan Cyrus. My background is in nonprofit management and public administration, and his is in for-profit business. Okay, and the critical solution, or critical situation and problem is loneliness and social isolation in older adults. I've been researching the effects of loneliness and social isolation in CSUMB classes since 2016 and formulating the concept of connections. In 2018 to 2019, I collaborated with 200 to 300 others on the Santa Cruz Museum of Art and History on the We're Still Here exhibit on loneliness and isolation in older adults, and that is now a traveling exhibit. In 2016, we interviewed Kathleen Marie Phillips at the Monterey County Area Agency on Aging, that's the AAA. Whenever I refer to AAA, it's going to be the Area Agency on Aging. And then from 2018 to present, I attended the AAA Advisory Council and the Legislative and Advocacy Committee meeting. And last year, I was appointed to the Advisory Council by the Board of Supervisors. I spoke about this concept to Kathleen, and this year I presented to AAA's staff, council, and committees, and they thought it was a good idea. So loneliness and social isolation makes us vulnerable to abuse and neglect by self or others. With the imposed isolation and loneliness of COVID-19, domestic violence and elder abuse and neglect have been on the rise. Families have been trapped at home with their abusers. Loneliness and isolation is worse than cigarette smoking for your health. It leads to higher morbidity and mortality rates. And social integration is the number one determinant of living to 100 or more years of age. So making social isolation and loneliness history is our goal. And who needs to know? Every older adult and everyone who knows an older adult, and everyone who wants to eventually become an older adult. What does Connections do? We collaborate and network for information on organization activities with activities and events for locals and visiting adults and seniors. We build and manage a database on our website, and we have an easy search of organizations with links to their activities and events on a worldwide, national, and county level. Our regional expansion strategy is county by county to nationwide. And our customers are foundations, government agencies for grants, donations, endowments, crown and fundraisers. We price per county based on population and size, incorporating all direct and indirect operating expenses. As more counties have a page on our website, we'll fund additional staff as needed. It is free to end users, local and visiting adults, seniors, support networks, and donations are welcome. So what will Connections do with the funding? The difference between nonprofit and a for-profit business is that nonprofits give budget projections based on what the amount that they are applying for. So I'm applying for 10,000, and so that's what I have. For-profit businesses do profit and loss statements, but applying for grants or prizes in this case would be budget. And the public relations and fundraising manager would also be a grant writer or grant application writer, and the community and social service specialist is volunteer coordinator. So if we spend less in some of the categories, we'll be able to shift it to other categories other categories, excuse me, and make good use of the money. So Connections is about creating bonds of friendship and growing social networks through shared activities and events for locals and visitors. And competition, there are no other comprehensive lists. We also have electronic forms on our website for consumer feedback that they can submit, for businesses that are, or organizations that are on our website with activities, if they need to update them, and also if organizations want to join and be on our website, they can do that too. Okay, so this is Gail. This represents Gail. She's 66. She's a business owner, and she feels no one cares about people when they get older, and there are no activities and events for adults and seniors because they're all for kids. So our website will connect you with activities and events, including learning computer classes and computer tutorials. That was a big thing for the people that we interviewed. The outcomes, she feels connected through shared activities and events, and her social isolation and loneliness are reduced, and she can use her devices better. So the end result is adults and seniors find activities and events. And so they can be of varying mobility stages, all the way from a scooter to my Uncle Hayes in the lower corner on top of one of the mountains in the Washington Cascades. He's in his 70s in that picture. He's in his 80s now. And he swears when he gets to be 85, he'll climb shorter mountains, but I don't think he will. So how will people discover Connections? Word of mouth, public service announcements, links from other websites, and flyers distributed by county partners. They'll have QR codes and
3 minutes remaining. Keep going.
Thank you. On how to find the Connections website on the internet, with the top of the flyer listing local computer classes and tutorials. So how will we build our team? So we have myself and Bijan, and then we're going to be getting an advisory board. In the meantime, we're using CSUMB advisors, mentors, and instructors, and capstone resources. There's a live link for my capstone on the slide, and it's about bringing more nonprofits and government agencies on board with iiED to reach the underserved population, with the theory that the underserved population are serving others in nonprofits and government agencies. So there'll be a lot of working. We're going to be using capstones, students, and interns, and hiring staff. And in the next 3 years, we'll have the human resources that were listed in the budget. We're going to have customers like the Monterey Peninsula Foundation. We can apply for a grant for up to $500,000 from them. They cover the Tri-County area of Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito. And the AARP Foundation for national and worldwide coverage. And then government agencies, endowments, donations, fundraising, also our customers. And remember, our end users, or everyone can use it for free. And then in later years, human resources, same as above and more.
1 minute remaining.
Thank you. And the customers are above, that's more foundations, and the AAA's, the Area Agency on Aging. Grant cycle is starting in 2024. Everyone can go to our website to find local activities and events by county. Local and visiting adults and seniors can easily make friends and build their social networks. Connections for a fuller, happier life. Questions?
So I have a question for you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Could you give me a little more clarity on really what you're offering? I mean, at one time you said hiking and physical activities. Another time you said computer programs. Another time you said getting access to county resources. I'm not. Could you just give me a little more clarity on what it is you're offering?
So we're offering to list organizations that have activities and events and have links to those activities and events. We won't be doing those activities and events ourselves. So we'll have a list of the community and or senior centers and links to their activities and events. We'll have the Board of Tourism and links to their events and activities. The Monterey County Weekly links to their events pages or entertainment pages. So different organizations in Monterey County. Osher Lifelong Learning Institute was one that was suggested for people 50 and better. And let's see. So there are a number of different organizations around the county, and there's no centralized list of, okay, well, what are we going to do if we're locals or visitors that want to meet locals and connect? And so they're all over the place. Sometimes the websites are wrong. So does that kind of answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay, great.
So I have a question on clarifying the actual users. It sounds like you've got for lack of a better word at the moment, a clearinghouse kind of concept. And so your partners you envision being those that offer programs, so that then and then you provide a hub, and ultimately your users are the adults, other than those that provide, shall we say, the content. If I got that correct?
So the people that provide the content won't be our customers. Our customers will be foundations and government agencies. And then the organizations that want to be on our website, it will be free for them to be on our website.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
And then the users then are the adults who then visit your website to browse and find activities.
Yes, and families and friends and healthcare providers, anybody that wants to go to the site to see things to do. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Kathy Bell. This is Carrie Nicotin. I like this idea a lot. I think that there is a need for it. My question is, on the side of the users, is there going to be a subscription fee or any kind of a model for revenue?
So we are part of the budget shows that we're going to be applying for a 501c3 status with the IRS and a California nonprofit. So that's in the budget, and so when we do that, we'll be pursuing funding by that way, fundraising, donations, endowments. We'll have a page on our website of donors.
Okay, so this is a free service to that
It's
population.
a nonprofit organization.
Well, nonprofits can still make money.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, I mean, we might make revenue streams from like YouTube videos or public speaking or whatever, and also later on when we're considered more expert. So there'll be other revenue streams, but yeah.
Great.
So any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. You said in your pitch that there's no competition, but it seems to me there's a lot of people publishing lists of group activities and a lot of groups that are serving seniors. So why do you think there isn't any competition?
Well, there's no centralized location. So every one of those lists will have a link to on our website. So we look at them as more as partners. And we'll let them know, hey, you're going on our list and you're welcome to have a link on your website, ours if you want, and make sure that you're, we'll let them know so that they can update their information on our list as well if they need to. But there's no comprehensive list of all of them. You just they're very scattered all over the place in silos.
Okay.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Have you talked to Meals on Wheels?
Meals on Wheels will be listed as, well, actually, we're going to be mailing out flyers. So Meals on Wheels will have this information to give to their clients as well, as the Sally Griffin Center also has activities and events. So there'll be a link to the website and their activities and events.
Great.
It's where.
Time's
Go
up
ahead.
for Q&A.
Okay.
All right, that's all the time we have for now for your presentation. Thank you so much, Kathy Bell.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Roger Hackett, and we are Plush World. We're building a smart plush toy that helps children learn to read. Oops. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let's meet Plushy Cat. Smart plush toy for ages 0 to 8. We have the ability to teach in over 50 languages with natural language voices. We think of this American dream where we have great access to schools and parents have plenty of time to read to their children. But right now, our American reality is looking a lot more like this. We're very distracted. We have kids on the screens. Another way to say it is the American dream we think of is like The Incredibles, but right now we're feeling like it's a lot more like The Simpsons. And when we think about our customer, we see that there's 1 in 5 third graders that struggle, and worldwide we've got 250 million children who are not meeting their potential. There's this 30 million word gap in the first 4 years when we look just in the US for those families that are on welfare versus those who are professionals. And we think there's a solution, and it looks a lot like the engagement that you get from Sesame Street. So we've created an experience around a smart plush toy that reads along, emotes along, acts along, dances along, and sings along. We have a freemium content platform that connects you with your family, your teachers, and your community, and that's the child's experience. Something that they love that helps them love to read. You can read to Plushy Cat, and the Plushy Cat can read to you. Oops, sorry. The parents' experience and the teacher's experience through this platform allows you to share routines, to set up an evening plan for naps, to set up activities like baby yoga, teach dance moves, to go through stories and conversations with the child so that their brains are growing the way that they need to. And even parents can have story times when they're traveling on a business trip or if they're deployed overseas. Now, our IP strategy is pretty traditional. We can get patents, we can get trademarks, and we can get copyrights, right? So those patents, they cover how we actually implement our technology inside of this plush toy, from how we do our natural language voices, from how we do the interactions and the recognition on the speech side to recognize the children's voices, and how we create the expressions and the conversations that go into our smart plush toy. The competition looks like one of 3 things: very expensive robot, very screen centric, or very simple plush toy. But we think we have a better combination. And our combination is affordable, has great content, and it has a strong ecosystem. And that's what makes us both effective and very flexible. Now, what does that ecosystem look like? You know all the players. There's Amazon. They've got over 70% of the smart speaker market. We can build great Amazon Alexa skills that integrate with our smart plush toy, and then we can continue from there. Having access to that library as well gives us a lot of opportunities to customize our experience without as much heavy lifting. When we look at our pilot partners outside of the home, we're looking at Head Start. We've had a great conversation with one Head Start in Washington State. We will use that partner to build out our solution, to iterate, bring it to the next 10, and then expand it to all of the over 1,000 Head Starts in the United States. Beyond that, I've already done some training with Lemelson MIT. I have connections into Bright Horizon, and we're looking at ways to partner with Sesame Street and Toys for Tots to reach families that are in the DODA schools all around the world. We think that's a great early partner for us. The community partners beyond the school, we're looking at the Seattle Public Library System, which I've had a chance to work with my children's book series. We're also looking at the New York Public Library because it has some of the most diverse and one of the largest library systems in the United States. And of course, we're looking at First Five in California, which is also represented in Monterey. I've been connected to the president of Fab Lab to look at ways that we might connect with community in building kits for our ecosystem as well. In terms of how we design it and how we bring this thing to market, I've already started a free training class with IDEO. I've got a quote from IDEO to move forward in doing some design for us. I've already walked the line at Unitech, a manufacturing company down in Fremont, California. And with IDEO as a partner, they already have experience working with Sesame Street. Now, what does the manufacturing partner do for us? What it does for us is as we go through these early builds and these early prototypes and pilots, once we flip the switch at the factory, we can get to volume. And that volume means that we can get significant revenue. And that revenue means that we can get our margins down because we'll be able to get the parts at the volume prices. Oops. Now the business model, because of, business model that the business model that we're using here has a cost of about $10 for the actual parts that go into the product. We're looking at a retail price of $49, and then we have additional revenue that comes in from our kits and content. I just did the margins here for the toy only, and you can see that there's $37 worth of profit, and those margins, we think, with the software will be above 80%. That allows us to expand to a lot of markets and reach more kids. In terms of advisors, I connected with Finn Arnold. He's a former VP of Research and Emerging Markets over at Bose. Debbie Gelati has been an advisor to me and on my other publishing side, and has a lot of experience in speech recognition and in the hospital vertical. Amy Purchase is an angel investor, worked with me at Web TV, and also has experience in licensing. So we think we've got a great set of advisors to help us get to where we need to go. In terms of funding, we've already started the process for the SBIR and NSF. One of the professors at CSUMB has helped us to understand a little bit more about other places that also offer these types of grants.
3 minutes remaining.
I'll be going into the Harvard and Stanford Angels Conference on May 12th. And we've been invited to the Launch Lab X at Harvard for Geo to apply there. So we'll be doing that. In terms of retail distribution, we're looking at some of the major players that are out there. I've had experience working with Amazon. We definitely plan to have our product there. We're looking into Target and have some connections there. And then I came from Apple working on the iPod team. So we definitely have had conversations with Apple around how we get our product onto the App Store on the app side. Our team is a combination of tech industry veterans. We've got teachers from preschool to middle school and arts integration. We've got people from the gaming industry like Facebook Reality Labs. Jared there on the top to my left is, or to my right, I guess, if you look at me, is from Disney Animation. And we got representation from Perkins and Coie as well. So we think we have a really great team here. And where we're looking for help is in all the kind of things that we're doing, some of which we have covered, but some of which we could always use more help. And that's like how to get these grants going, and who should we prioritize in terms of those grants. Learning a little bit more about how we could do sponsors like PBS does so that we can reach more kids, sales and marketing, and then of course, big box retailers like Walmart. The funding request that we're looking for, short-term funding, is $400,000. And where that money goes is developing a prototype, really helping to take that prototype out and creating a pilot that tells us all the things that we are doing right and all the things that we need to improve so that we can take this thing to market. And then getting all the patents and other intellectual property protected before we take this out into the marketplace, into the worldwide marketplace, so that
1
we
minute
can,
remaining.
so that we have a defensible business that we can expand and reach as many kids as possible. And with that, I'd just like to say thank you, and I look forward to any questions that you have.
I have a question. So on your patents and intellectual property and rights, are you going to be making your own, are you creating your own intellectual property? Or are you licensing the intellectual property, or is it a combination of the two? I wasn't really clear on the strategy.
Yeah, our primary strategy at this point will be to actually file original patents.
So have you done any provisionals? I mean, are you on the docket at all with the United States? Where are you in that stream of creation?
So we have not currently done provisional patents or filed the actual patents. In fact, one of the things that we will do when we take this through our process is try to raise funding so that we can get the patents in place. Now, I understand the question around provisional patents, being that that's a lower cost pathing that gives you 1 year.
Right.
But yeah, so but at the same time, we'd like to kind of get that going a little bit closer to the pilots and the so that we can have as long time with that provisional as we can.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
This is the social venture division. It seems to me, I was a little confused with your funding strategy, but it seems to me that you are building a toy with some educational, I believe, content in it, arguably positioned toward the younger child market. But I don't see what the social aspect of this business model is.
So the social impact side of it is the teaching children to read, right? I mean, opening up the opportunities for children to their academic opportunities as well as their future opportunities in the workplace. Reading is foundational. It's sort of the core step that you have to take, without which you can't proceed. So that's really the social impact side. The other part of the social impact side really comes down to the emotional connection that kids have and that they have to maintain as they grow. By working with places like Head Start and the wraparound services, that we're able to go into some of the social emotional connection and services that children need to grow the part of their brain that helps them read, among other things. So there's that broader set of things that we'll be able to open the door to for our product through our platform.
All right, and you think you can build this model based on grants? Is that your strategy?
So I think there's a combination of grants, angel funds, and then traditional VC that we'll have to go through. I've had a chance to talk to some folks on both the angel side and the VC side. VC side, we're quite early in the process. Grant side gets us to the point where we can get the IP that's necessary then to get additional funding, and also to get into some of these to some of these different partners that I mentioned, like Head Start and to Bright Horizons and Volume. And that volume, that revenue that comes from that volume with the margins that we can achieve, that's what opens the door to traditional funding, and that's what allows us to fund the rest of the business.
All right.
Yeah, another thing I can mention if you want to hear about that is that the long path around the IP strategies, that we've had great conversations with ARM, and they've explained to us how we can put IP blocks into a chipset that ultimately means that we have a very unique experience and definitely have protection over our IP.
Okay. Hi, y'all. My name is Maddie, and today I'm pitching my idea for Rework, a sustainable fashion cooperative. Rework's purpose is to help entrepreneurs create and sell upcycled fashion. We've largely missed this year's grant cycle, so we are seeking donors to split a $20,000 match of our other funding. The $10,000 in prize money from this competition and these extra donations are crucial in holding us over until we can apply for grants in the next 2 years. Overall, this support will allow our creators to capture 1.14% of the target market and will allow us to sell $16,000 worth of co-op memberships in our first 3 years. The problem the whole world is facing is 85% of textiles end up in landfills. People everywhere are combating this issue by embracing the movement to upcycle clothing. This is an ideal course of action because textile recycling is incredibly expensive. Unfortunately, we estimate that in the target market of our Tri-County area and San Francisco, there are 60,000 underprivileged people who cannot participate in this upcycling boom because they lack overhead and experience. Rework's solution is providing our underserved communities with everything they need to start their own upcycled fashion lines. We collect damaged textiles and harvest any usable parts. Then our members use communal tools to turn these scraps into something new and unique. And if members want help selling their creations, we offer joint marketing and our online store. For our 3-year roadmap, we'll immediately secure a communal workspace in Monterey County. Then in 2022, we'll host pop-up events across Santa Cruz and San Benito counties. By the first quarter of 2023, we'll expand our pop-ups to San Francisco. Our business model includes 3 parts. First, we want to offer 2 membership options. A free membership to those who can commit to a 3-hour volunteer shift per week, or a $25 per month option for non-working members. We will also generate income by taking a 10% commission on online sales. Grant funding and sponsorships will be crucial to our success. Rework is the perfect setting for transitional and underserved populations. Our value proposition is that we can make sustainable fashion accessible to all and provide a pathway to self-sufficiency. Once again, placing first in this competition is crucial to hold us over until we can access more grant funding in the next 2 years. Rework is special because we soothe our competitors' pain points. Peer-to-peer organizations don't have any solutions in place for underserved communities. Rework capitalizes on untapped potential. Additionally, partners of big fashion brands don't have time to upcycle, which means they are spending a lot on recycling. Rework serves as a last alternative to uphold the value of clothing by harvesting usable parts. Looking at Rework's go-to-market strategy, we'll start with our designer spotlight. Yeji is a seaside local who represents the 60,000 people in our target area with limited resources who are our potential co-op members. Yeji is busy juggling work and school, so she is a good candidate for Rework's non-working membership, which costs $25 per month. But Rework isn't just targeting potential co-op members. We want to reach buyers of upcycled fashion too. Within our initial target market of Tri-County area in San Francisco, there are 23,000 existing buyers of upcycled fashion. Expand that to our 6-year target, which includes Los Angeles, Amsterdam, and Berlin, and there are 143,000 potential customers. Pictured here are 4 conscious consumers who represent our early customers and are volunteering as Rework's first brand ambassadors. Altogether, they have over 4,000 followers on Instagram, and their grassroots support is essential for launching Rework's peer-to-peer marketing strategy. Shifting back to our designers, Rework's creators will set their own price points. Looking at competitor platforms, pieces typically range between $15 to $200. To recruit co-op members, we've identified 13 local partners. We will initiate contact within their circles of influence and present our services through tabling, workshops, and pop-ups to help us close memberships within 2 weeks of those events. For distribution of our members' creations, our website will use API to integrate with Shippo, which allows our creators to send pieces directly to customers. Again, Rework's competitive advantage is that we address our competitors' weaknesses. The renewal workshop and Trove partner with big brands to wash and repair clothing. But up to 25% of their input stream goes to recycling. Recyclers charge over $600 per ton when they can use secondhand sales to subsidize costs. If an entire batch of clothing is so damaged that nothing can be resold, the recycling rates go up even higher. There is a big opportunity for collaboration with us to save on their recycling costs. Rework's other competitors are Poshmark and Depop, which are peer-to-peer marketplaces that are popular with our target market. But the only thing they can offer is a big audience. Underserved communities need additional support to create and sell upcycled fashion. Let's take a moment to review our team members. As the director of Rework, I'm a circular fashion expert. Last year, I worked as a corporate responsibility intern at PVH Corp Europe and Tommy Hilfiger Global. Carrie Nikitin is a serial entrepreneur. He's a 5-time CEO with 2 successful exits, one in the upcycled fashion industry. Rework's industry mentor is Shireen Hashem. She is a consultant and business developer in the fashion industry and is the founder of the nonprofit Fashion Community Week and Sustainable Fashion Week in San Francisco. Rework's web developer is Pamela Snyder. She's the founder of the firm Go Sustainably and is a former marketing strategy team lead for Nike, Levi's, and more. But even with these power players, there are gaps on our team. For 2021, we are seeking at least 2 independent directors and 4 advisory board members. Now here's a look at our P&L over a 3-year period. We've included grant funding and donations in our revenue projections. Grant funding is not always guaranteed, so we're pursuing leads for sponsorships and other opportunities so that Rework can be less reliant on grants. We also hope to collaborate with other nonprofits and partners within the fashion industry. Rework is still in the planning stage, and this month we will formally form the company. Then in July, we'll begin rolling membership recruitment, and in August, we'll move into our leased space and launch an online store. At the beginning of 2022, we'll hire an intern to expand pop-up events to Santa Cruz and San Benito counties. And at the beginning of 2023, we'll hire a second intern and expand pop-ups to San Francisco. We can only achieve these dreams under 2 conditions. First, we need first place prize money from this competition. Second, we need at least 4 individuals to match the City of Seaside's $5,000 micro enterprise grant this quarter. We're reaching out to the companies shown here, but we need your help too. We're expecting some pushback since donations are not tax deductible for nonprofit mutual benefit corporations. We need your help identifying players who won't be fazed by that stipulation. Now, when you saw our P&L, you might have questioned how our G&A, including rent, was so low. It's because we based it on our dream workspace in Sand City's West End. This is the reason I'm pushing to expedite everything so quickly. I can't imagine a more perfect space to start out. With reserving workspaces at staggered time slots, this space will allow us to max out at 20 paid membership subscriptions.
1 minute remaining.
Finally, Reworks Exit is really an expansion. If we can bring more independent directors and advisory board members to our team, I'm confident that our strategy will succeed and bleed down to LA. I'd also love to go back to the sustainable fashion hotspots of Amsterdam and Berlin to recruit and train Reworks Global team. Thank you very much for your time and for your consideration.
So are we in question mode now?
Yes, you can start your questions, judges.
So I do have a question. I am very intrigued by this business model. The question I have for you is tell me if I've got this right. You take damaged or goods, items that are ready for recycle because they can't be sold, and then you salvage what's available to be upworked, as you describe it. But then it seems to me you're still going to have a lot of leftover material that still needs to go to recycle. So how does that work? And is that going to be a big drag on you from a cost standpoint?
Yeah, so of course, things can always come up, but the general idea is that, so let's say we're harvesting fabric scraps, buttons, zippers, all that kind of stuff, and perhaps there's like a big stain on a garment or whatever. Instead of throwing that stain away, we would hand shred it so that it can be used as stuffing in other pieces. Like maybe someone wants to make a puffer jacket, or sometimes there are some very unique uses for stuffing. I know it may sound strange, but for fashion, some people may come up with something really weird, like maybe a stuffed animal on a headband, or crazy stuff where all of these parts can be utilized, damaged or not.
So you don't expect to have any leftover, you expect 100% utilization of whatever you get?
As close to 100% as you can get. I'm sure, there may be a time where you get something that's maybe a little bit gross or maybe even unsanitary. There's a chance that we may just reject that item outright, or that's where we would need to, hand that back over to waste management.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question about you. You talked about using big brand partners, and sounds like you've come from that world in the sense, and my impression in there is that there's a lot of work being done to handle material coming out of big brand partners at the source, or bringing things back.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? And
Definitely. So I'm not quite sure just how much information I'm allowed to disclose, so I won't go into super specifics, but essentially these big brand partners, they are, facing their own, profit goals. And so when they received garments that are heavily damaged, they are sorting them immediately. And there is someone deciding how much time it will take to fix a certain item. And usually if that time frame is over 40 minutes, they have to say, sorry, we move on to the next one. We cannot salvage any parts from this. It's not worth our time. And so that is where the 25% of their input stream is going to recycling, downcycling, landfill, incineration, depending on the quality. Because when we're talking about textile recycling right now too, there are lots of innovations in the work, but practically right now, textile recycling is limited to fabrics with 100% composition. So you need to gather all of your shirts that are 100% cotton, and then you sort them by color, and then that can be recycled together. But if you get, 50% cotton, 50% polyester, the more of a combination you have, the harder it is to recycle those items. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, actually, it did and provided some insight on your knowledge, shall we say. So, cool.
Awesome, thank you.
Another question I have for you is, you and your model say that you're going to collect a commission on the sales of the items that the workers produce. So what are you projecting in terms of revenue per worker, in terms of what they're going to be able to do for you?
Yeah, so in the P&L, I was pretty generous. I took the average of our price range. And so that is between, the average was 92.5. And in
Sorry
my
to
head,
interrupt. That time's up for Q&A.
I'd love to answer your question via email.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Maddie.
Thank you.
Seeds for STEM, providing quality STEM club experiences to 3rd to 8th grade youth. Science class is only worksheets now. Our current activity is made up, so I'm not really paying attention. I'm Samantha Vina with Seeds for STEM, and in speaking with potential users, this is what we are hearing about their current STEM education. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. Many children have had a reduction in exposure to STEM concepts and activities, as well as isolation from their peers while learning at a distance due to COVID-19. With Seeds for STEM, 3rd to 8th grade youth will re-engage and get inspired about STEM. In order to have a strong STEM economy tomorrow, we need to keep our children engaged in STEM today.
I'm Shannon Bliss. In my previous role for 7 years as the Dean of STEM for Hartnell College, I saw students following exciting paths to STEM careers and changing their lives for themselves, their families, and our community. For many of us, STEM is exciting and engaging, but we all know someone who finds STEM intimidating. Studies show if children get 36 hours of STEM content in addition to school in a year, they stay comfortable with math and other STEM content and are more likely to consider STEM careers for their future. My experiences and educational contacts in STEM education for the last 30 years have inspired me to focus on keeping our children engaged with Seeds for STEM. In a recent Forbes article that had this quote, "Ensuring that everyone has a level of STEM knowledge and that our professional STEM sector is diverse and representative of those that it serves is critical to make sure that future technologies are for everyone, not just the privileged few." Parents have the need for more STEM exposure for their children solidly on their radar, indicated by the $4 billion annual STEM toy market. Additionally, a majority of parents with children in after-school programs said that STEM opportunities were an important factor in their choice. These percentages are highest with African American and Hispanic parents, two particularly important demographics for us to serve. In opposition to this interest, many children have had a reduction in exposure to STEM while learning at a distance over the last year. As we look to children returning to school in person, it may take a number of years before our children catch up with the gaps that have formed.
As a not-for-profit company, Seeds for STEM provides facilitated STEM experiences for 3rd to 8th graders. These experiences are intended to be used with groups of children in STEM clubs, with the real-world inspiring hands-on curriculum. Each experience will be 2 to 8 hours in length, designed to be clustered toward the goal of 36 hours in a year. Modules are focused on peer interaction, so these activities are perfect for clubs and groups, both virtually and safely in person. Curriculum will be facilitated by college students. Near peers of this type can be effective role models, increasing the motivation of the participants and showing later steps of core STEM pathways. Drawing from an effective near-peer model Hartnell's K-12 STEM program has used for a number of years, we are tapping into the teacher training pathway between Hartnell and CSUMB to recruit a cadre of students to act as near peers. Here's what is included in our Backyard Mystery 2-hour experience. We will provide all materials tailored to the group size. This experience explores microbiodiversity, some key biotechnology tools, and we also have a 4-hour version. Our webpage will have a welcome screen with information about our product, enticing to both youth and parents. Customers can give us their contact information to sign up for our newsletter. There will be pages with descriptions and key information such as the duration of each activity and corresponding age range, and links to allow customers to access their purchases.
Our customers will be parents of 3rd to 8th graders. As we enter the market, we are highlighting our shorter 2-hour experiences to allow customers an easy, low commitment first exposure to Seeds for STEM. These experiences may also be particularly attractive as they can be used for events like birthday parties. Our early efforts will also have an emphasis towards providing content to existing groups like 4-H, Boys and Girls Club, particularly scouting troops. Our validation surveys indicate that parent leaders need an influx of new quality programming and often have unspent money from previous fundraising. For early marketing, we will use word of mouth, social media, local print media, and access existing groups through their umbrella organizations. For example, in the local Girl Scout Council, there are over 8,000 girls. When we look at the competitors for Seeds for STEM, they fall into 2 main categories: monthly subscriptions of STEM kits and one-off STEM toys. If you look at these charts that we've put together for you, you can see that these large yellow areas indicate content that's really focused on engineering, making, or coding. And so when you compare this to what we're doing at Seeds for STEM, we have a focus on 3 things that are really different from the market competitors. We're looking at group interactions in STEM clubs. We have an early focus on subjects like biology, agriculture, and earth science. And then we have our near peer facilitation model. Additionally, on this slide, you can see a picture of a recent pilot we did with a Girl Scout troop of 9 girls ages 12 to 13. All the girls indicated they really enjoyed the experience and that they learned new things. And 8 of the 9 would like to do more experiences like this in their troop. On the safety side, you can see that all the girls are wearing masks. There's just distance between them, and we're using this outside venue.
Our business model is parents purchase an initial experience, curriculum, materials, and facilitation. Marketing and incentives encourage additional experiences up to 36 hours per year. As a not-for-profit, we are looking towards sales as well as grant obtainment for our revenue. We will pursue state, local, and federal grants and opportunities like crowdfunding and Monterey Gives to allow us to bring Seeds for STEM to the youth populations that need it the most. We have a compelling trifecta when we are looking into grant opportunities, since Seeds for STEM provides inspirational STEM experiences to youth, while simultaneously parents will have increased comfort supporting their children with STEM content, and teaching experiences to college students pursuing education as their major. Organizations in our area that offer relevant granting opportunities for youth programming include the Nancy Buck Ransom Foundation, Chevron's Foundation, Monterey Peninsula Foundation, and the Community Foundation for Monterey County. In sales, we will charge fees for access to curriculum, supplies, and facilitators. Based on parent interviews, pricing will be set at a base price of $10 per hour per child plus supplies. The supplies you saw a few slides back would cost us less than $25 to assemble, but we feel we could charge the customer at a $65 unit price due to economies of scale and in-house equipment. We will provide discounts for groups over 5 or purchases of the full 36 hours of content. We're also looking to obtain revenue from possible contracts with umbrella organizations. Our largest expense in year one will be to supply assembly and tech support we need to keep our webpage functioning. Our intention is to keep initial costs low, as a large part of our staffing model will be to obtain student volunteers or service learners through our connections, acting as facilitators for clubs, web development, and other aspects of the business. As the company grows, we anticipate getting to the point where most positions will be paid. This slide shows our financial projections for the first 4 years, showing projected numbers of groups, costs, and revenue. We estimate to hit the break-even mark late in year one. Within the first year, we predict 37 groups will pay to complete an experience, but by year 4, we are looking to have grown to over 1,700 experiences. For our 4th year, we predict an estimated revenue of $425,000. Using groups of 5 as a low average, we would be educating over 8,000 children a year.
We recruited a strong advisor team with educational administrators and faculty from CSUMB, Hartnell, and local school districts, as well as students with education, business branding, and website development expertise. A particular hole we're looking to fill, we have feelers out to get a CSUMB capstone team to do a full e-commerce webpage build out for us. When we look at our milestones, we won 2nd place in the 2021 Monterey Bay Startup Weekend. Another key aspect to this event for us, that was when Samantha joined the Seeds for STEM team, as she's looking to found a similar nonprofit in her future, so it was a good fit. She is graduating from Hartnell College this month with dual associate degrees in business administration and economics. And in the fall,
remaining.
She's transferring to San Jose State to major in global operations management. We've been working together since, and we would not be here today without this effective collaboration. We own 3 domains, seedsforstem.org, .com, and .net. We have a basic web page. We have Instagram and Facebook pages. In collaboration with a couple of Hartnell and CSUMB STEM grants, we've recruited students to begin working this summer on adapting additional curriculum to the Seeds for STEM format, and we've begun piloting our early experiences with volunteer groups. In summary, Seeds for STEM provides facilitated STEM experiences to the parents of 3rd to 8th graders. We look forward to getting your feedback and questions.
I have a question for you. This is the 2nd time I've heard your pitch, and I think you're really onto something significant. I applaud you for taking this on. The question I still have, though, is 36 hours a year divided into modules of 2 to 8 hours doesn't seem like an awful lot of time. Couldn't you be doing more with the students to engage them, and what's going to be their retention span if the time between sessions is so spread out?
So certainly, I think what we're trying to do with the 36 hours is have a research-based goal to give parents to work towards with their STEM clubs that they're building for their children. So, they may try a 2-hour experience, they may sign up for a 6-hour experience, and then we can go back to them and say, the research shows that if you can bulk this up to 36 hours, then it will really have the largest impact for your children. So it's certainly that 36 hours is in addition to school. So if you think about an after-school program that had 1 hour of STEM every week, it'd be kind of a similar amount. So we're trying to keep the number reasonable and attainable to the parents. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I will look forward to your next presentation when you've got some testimonials in there, because I think user experience is going to be key to building this out and making it very successful.
Thank you.
So I have a question, because I like your approach, but I'd like to hear a little bit more about how you are going to spread the word and really address the competition that exists for these other after-school activities, as well as STEM kits and programs and rec departments. So how do you really get yourself in there?
Sure. So the closest program that I know that's similar to what we are looking to do is what Hartnell does with their K-12 STEM program. So I worked with that program for 7 years. I was overseeing that program. And it's a great program. It provides similar programming to what we're looking at in size and sort of capacity to the schools in Salinas. But it's difficult for them to grow beyond that. And I know that there's a need in our area to start with for parents looking for ways to expose their children more deeply to the very key concepts that are found in STEM education. As far as competing with sort of things you can buy, like kits and things, we're hoping that the near-peer facilitation is really attractive to parents, that they want to go a little bit deeper than buying a kit and maybe spending an hour with their kids going through the kit. I have an 11-year-old, and I know I have a whole bunch of kits upstairs that we haven't even ever opened. So I'm hoping that taking that interest in providing STEM education to kids in a deeper way that parents have, we can spin it in a different way and make it a little easier for them to provide those experiences for their children. Did I catch all the parts of the question?
Yes, you did. And I think maybe as I think about what you're talking about, it's really, do you have a marketing focus and wedge to expand your presence? You know, are you going to go after Girl Scout groups and Boy Scouts, and what do you have a strategy for expanding like that?
Definitely, Girl Scouts is the organization group that I've been reaching out to and I'm interested in bringing in earliest. I was a Girl Scout for 12 years, so I definitely understand the program and I understand the goals. I think they're a really good match for us as an early user group. I think that also with some of the connections that I have, we may be able to get into the schools, but that's a tricky one. So that'll be sort of as we can catch them. And then we're looking to definitely use word of mouth from parents, social media, to capture additional parents who are interested in bringing in the clubs.
Hi, this is Carrie Nicotin. When we talk about scaling and the parents paying for it in some of the underserved communities, that's just not a viable.
To interrupt. Time's up for Q&A.
Oh. Okay.
I look forward to talking to you later about that.
Okay, great.